Hello, class 6 students. How are you all? I hope all of you are absolutely fine. Okay, so today what is Prerna ma'am going to teach you? We are going to be studying chapter number 9. Now, before I start with chapter number 9, I hope you remember that, in our previous classes, we studied how a man from a hunter-gatherer gradually moved into a settled life, and then how various civilizations took place. So we studied about the Indus Valley civilization, we studied about the Mesopotamian civilization, we studied about the Chinese civilization and the Egyptian civilization. And we studied how some rivers became an important source, or how the rivers actually became the birthplace for so many civilizations. So when we studied about these civilizations, we studied about the social structure, we studied about the economic life, we studied about the art and architecture. We also studied something about the religion that existed in these, civilizations. So basically, in and out about how the society existed. Now, when we talk about the settling of man into structured society, an important aspect related to that is that how or who is the one ruling the particular society. So when I talk about the word ruling, or when I say the word ruling, I don't mean someone who's authoritative. I mean someone who's basically taking care of the society, someone who's designing rules, someone who is looking at the administrative part, someone who's looking at the financial part of the entire society. So when we talk about our country, about India, and maybe some neighboring places today, which probably did not exist centuries ago. So basically, when we talk about our country and the neighboring areas, we talk about kingdoms, right? We talk about how India was once ruled by different kings, and gradually how even the kingdoms declined, and then probably a proper government came into existence, so on and so forth. So talking about kingdoms, in today's class, we are going to study about one of the first sort of kingdoms, maybe you can say, that existed in India, which was Magadha. Most of you might have heard of this name, Magadha. So now let us try to find out the story about Magadha. Like I've already told you, history is someone's story, or something story, correct? So it could be a person, it could be a kingdom, maybe a particular commodity also. So we are going to read the story of this kingdom, this very famous kingdom called as Magadha. So all of you open your textbooks to chapter number 8 in your textbook. Come on. So this is chapter number 8, which is on page number 76. Sorry, chapter number 9. I'm sorry, I think I said chapter number 8 previously also. This is chapter number 9, and the name of the chapter is The Rise of Magadha. Okay, so this kingdom, how it came into existence. Let us start reading that. So first, let us understand the rise of kingdoms, how kingdoms came into existence. So this map that you see here, this map is of India. One second. This map that I'm trying to show you, 1 second. This is about 600 BC. So how kingdoms came into existence? Let us read that. By the 6th century BCE, small tribal states called Janas. You remember we studied about how during the Vedic society, how it was divided into different sections. Sections in the sense, what was the level? So there was a Kul, then there was a Gram, then there was a Jana, then the Vis that was there, and at the end there was a Rashtra, or a nation. So by the 6th century BCE, small tribal states called Jana had grown into large monarchies and republics called Janpadas in the Gangetic plains of Bihar in the later Vedic period. So we studied about Janas in the Vedic period, Vedic civilization. So basically what happened was that around Bihar, the Gangetic plains, these Janpadas came into existence, which gradually grew into very famous kingdoms. And the more powerful and large Janpadas came to be known as Mahajanpadas. So if you look at this, these were the 16 main Mahajanpadas. So there was Kamboja, Gandhara, Kuru, Panchala, Kosala, Vriji, Mala, Kashi, Magad, Anga, Avanti, Chetia, Matsya, and Asaka. So these were the main Janpadas that started emerging during the Vedic period. Now we talk about Magad, how Magad became a famous Mahajanpada. The Mahajanpadas often fought with each other or for supremacy. So just like countries fought in the 1900s, countries fought against each other to be the superpower. In this particular time period, the Janpadas, they fought against each other. In this constant warfare, the Magad Mahajanpada succeeded in establishing itself as a strong kingdom. So it was Magad, which among all these Mahajanpadas was the most powerful one. On its way to becoming an empire, Magad saw the rise and fall of many powerful dynasties. Initially, the Magad kingdom consisted of only that portion of present-day Bihar which lies to the south of Ganges. So who was the first ruler of Magad? It was Bimbisara. The transformation of the Magad kingdom. So this photo that you see, this is of King Bimbisara. So transformation of the Magad kingdom into an empire began during the Haryanka dynasty, and Bimbisara, he was the first notable king of this dynasty. Which dynasty? Haryanka dynasty. And he ruled from 544 BCE to 492 BCE. He built his capital at Rajgarh, which is the present-day Rajgir of Bihar. And how did he do that? He used both war and marriage alliances with the nobility to expand the kingdom. He annexed the neighboring kingdoms of Kosala and Vriji. You remember on the map I showed you these Mahajanpadas. So he was involved into a lot of battles and also into marriage alliances, and this is how he expanded the Magad kingdom. So this kingdom rich in resources and administrative functions. So Magad had large deposits of iron ore. So what was the advantage of this? This was used for making weapons and agricultural implements. So weapons for warfare and agricultural implements or tools, these helped in the prospering of agricultural activity. Iron weapons helped in strengthen Magad's attacking power in wars, while agricultural tools were used to increase production. So both ways they used iron so that they could expand the extent of Magad kingdom. Bimbisara, he established an efficient system of administration and justice. He introduced a tax collection system and employed officials to collect revenue at the village level. And the village, they had their own assembly under their local chiefs called Gramakas. So why these Gramakas were made? So that people at the grassroots level, their problems could also be solved, because it was not possible for everyone to go and approach the king straight away. And obviously it wasn't even possible for king to listen to each and every person in the kingdom. So that is why the Gramakas were appointed. After Bimbisara came his son, whose name was Ajatashatru. So Ajatashatru, he wasn't a good son because he conspired against his own father. Okay, so he probably looked for ways to bring his own father down. All right. He captured the throne in 492 BC and ruled till 460 BCE. During his reign, Magad grew more powerful. and he shifted the capital to the new city of Patliputra, which is present-day Patna. And he was succeeded by his son Udyan. But unfortunately, Udyan and his successors were not that powerful. So that is why they could not rule Magad for a very long time, and their dynasty was replaced by the Sisunaga dynasty. So Hiryanka dynasty was now taken over, or the rule of the Hiryanka dynasty was now taken over by the Sisunaga dynasty. Okay, now Holy Purans refer to 9 Nanda kings as the first empire builders of India. So basically, this was the dynasty, and then Nanda dynasty that ruled Magad from 343 BC to 321 BC. The reign of the first Nanda king, Mahapadmananda, it was the longest among the 9 Nanda kings. So these Nanda kings were a part of the Sisunaga dynasty. The Nandas continued the expansion of Magad Empire. And when their rule ended, the Magad Empire was very large, and the Nandas had built a very powerful army with which they won many battles. And these are the dynasties that we are talking about. So Haryanka dynasty, then you have Sisunaga dynasty, and then you have the Nanda dynasty. So these were the 3 dynasties. So like I've already told you that after the Haryanka dynasty, you had the Sisunaga dynasty, and after the Sisunaga dynasty, you had the Nanda dynasty. Okay, and under Nanda dynasty as well, the kingdom of Magad really grew to a large extent. Okay, let's move forward. Now this is the time period of each dynasty. So Haryanka dynasty, we know that there were 3 main rulers: Bimbisara, followed by his son or succeeded by his son Ajatashatru, succeeded by his son Udyan. So Bimbisara 544 to 492, then Ajatashatru from 492 to 460, and then from 460 to 444 BC was Udyan. But because Udyan and his successors were not strong enough, they were taken over by the Sisunaga dynasty, and then after that it was the Nanda dynasty. Okay, sorry. Now what happened? Alexander came to India during the reign of Nanda period. So we all have heard of Alexander the Great, Sikandar also, as we call him at times, correct? So Alexander the Great, he comes to India. So basically, Alexander, known as the Great Warrior or the Great Defender. So we know that Alexander, he had conquered many parts across the world, and now he came to India. So what I'm going to show you is the areas that he conquered and his trade route to, his route map to India. Okay, so Alexander the Great's empire. So look at these areas: Turkos, Alexandria, and his what was the hometown of Alexander? That was Macedonia. All right, now let us read how or the route from which he entered India. Okay. One second. All right, so he had already conquered Syria, Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Persian Empire before coming to India. How did he enter India? He basically entered India through its northwestern region, all right, which was divided into many small kingdoms. So I will show you this area. So see, these are the areas. So now you see this area, this particular portion, this is the northwestern part. Here you can see this is how directions are divided. So northwest is this part. So from Jammu and Kashmir till about Rajasthan and a bit of Gujarat as well. The northwestern part is from where Alexander entered India, and these were the main areas that he actually captured, and he was known as the Great Defender or the Great Warrior. And Alexander came to India when? During the Nanda dynasty, right? So now when Alexander was here in India, he wanted to capture most of the area. So he fought a battle with King Porus. So many battles he fought with various kings in India, but his battle with Porus is the most known battle. And you might hear maybe your grandparents or maybe even your parents singing a song like Sikandar ne Poras se ki thi ladai, and the war is described, and it's a beautiful way how it is described. So this war between Sikandar, that is Alexander, and Porus is described. And what was the beauty? Though it was a war, but something really beautiful happened. That when Alexander saw Porus, the way he fought, with the amount of courage he fought, though Porus lost this battle, still Alexander was so impressed by him that he made an alliance with Porus. And now, after this success, Alexander, wanted to capture more areas. He wanted to rule across the Ganges in India. But his army, which was coming from the western region, they were all so tired by now because of so many battles and so many wars. Now they said that, King, we cannot fight any more. And they had already given up now. Though they were winning all the battles and the wars, but now they did not have the physical strength to fight any more. So he told his army that let us all return to our country. But on his way back, unfortunately, Alexander, he died in Babylon, and because he was on his way to Macedonia. Macedonia was the hometown, and he lived for only 33 years, but he built a great empire. So when Alexander came to India and he did so much of invasion, there was some impact. What was this impact? Let's read it. So the impact of Alexander's invasion was that the warring small kingdoms in the northwestern region of India suffered loss of power after their defeat by Alexander. This development created favorable conditions for Chandragupta Maurya to bring this region under his control after Alexander's departure. I'll let you know why we're talking about Chandragupta Maurya here. Okay. Now, Alexander's invasion, it also gave a boost to trade between India and Europe. So that was the positive part. And Indian historians also benefit from the meticulous records left by Alexander's historians about his wars in India. And these were the literary sources that we have about Alexander's invasion. And on the art front, of course, because there was intermingling of cultures, so a lot of cultural new cultural maybe or art in terms of art and culture, a lot of new ideas came up, and it was an intermingling of the Indian and Greek culture, which resulted in the birth of Gandhara school of art. This is an Indo-Greek school of art. Okay, so this is mainly about Magadha, how this kingdom expanded. A very short story, how this kingdom expanded. And Dhananda, who was the last king of the Nanda dynasty, who ruled over the Magadha empire, he was a very cruel king. And what gradually happened, how the Nanda dynasty saw its decline, it was because of the training that Chanakya had given to Chandragupta Maurya. So who was Chanakya? Who was Chandragupta Maurya? How did they defeat this very powerful king of the Nanda dynasty, Dhananda? How could they defeat him? Then who ruled over such a large kingdom of Magadha? This we are going to study in chapter number 10, and I'm going to tell you some very interesting stories in chapter number 10. Till then, bye-bye, my dear students.